Hey, howdy, fellers. Elder Ufgood here, and welcome to a video that I normally don't do, but it's been requested, so I gotta do it, right? Right? So, let's say you've got into bees, and you built yourself a great little place to house your bees, and they're all productive and doing all the things that bees do, right? You've done all the special things you need to do, right? That's right. You went and you fished in the river, and you got yourself some water bees. Then what did you do? You took said water bees and you left them outside and hoped they would stay long enough to turn meta-ernal. And once you've got your said water bees and you've done all your special things and you start breeding them and you get your perfect honey treat, like this, then what? Well, honestly, the next step for you is the Bee Breeder 9000. What does this do? It's simple. You take your bees, you breed them, it does everything automatically. Alright, I know it looks like a lot, and there's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on in this room. This room has nothing to do with it. I'm going to get out of this area, I'm going to show you how to build it, and explain exactly how this thing works, and how you could tie it into your AE system, or standalone if you really want to keep it standalone. But you'll never need for genes ever again for any bee. This is the Bee Breeder 9000. That's right. I'm over here in my once creative world where I got this monstrosity built before I moved it over. We were in my unfinished beehive. So now you've got your perfect bees, right? You got your two perfect water bees. Now you got to go through the task of breeding them up and getting the genes into the system and all that lovely stuff. Well, I got an easier solution. And it's not really easy, but it's easy enough to where once you get the system up and running, it's passive and you no longer have to worry about any of your genes. On top of that, you get to make any genes that you need. And without further ado, let us get into the Bee Breeder 9000. In order for my Bee Breeder 9000 to work, I use a combination of AE and Super Factory Manager. And if you hear me call it Source Factory Manager, that's because I'm a Neanderthal. And, words are hard. But let me remind you, even though I'm a Neanderthal, sometimes, just sometimes, I have big brain moments. This is one of those moments. So in this chest, this is exactly everything you're going to need to build the Bee Breeder 9000. And we're going to get through it. I'll go layer by layer, and I'll show you how to hook it up into the AE system. I'll show you the code, which the code is fairly simple, and I've just cleaned it up in my Ant series. And that code will be available for download on my Discord. Which, by the way, why haven't you joined the Discord? Don't you know we got lots of talking people over there? Lots of stuff that it can help others, including you. That's right, you. Join the Discord! Alright, so we're first going to start. We're going to grab our ME wireless connector. I'm going to go ahead and just do left side first into everything that we need. Alrighty, if you're going to build this in an area where you already have Super Factory Manager and you want to keep it separate, I highly recommend isolating it from your system completely. And if you do that, I highly recommend going ahead and swiping your wireless network. If you're not running wireless, that's also fine. You don't have to. I do. Alright, so you're going to put down your ME wireless connector or your connector of any sort, your ME interface, your factory manager, and a oak barrel. Now, you don't need, well, I say oak barrel. It's a netherite barrel. You don't need this. This is overkill. What I'm about to do is overkill again. I'm going to grab 2 of these. Do you need that? Absolutely not. All right, on the next one, place down a centrifuge, inventory cable, your gene indexer, and place your lever on top. You can turn it on now, you can turn it on later. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Okay, for the next row, it's going to be inventory cable, your barrel. You could use any item collector that you want. For the sake of this, I'm going to show you the Zycraft machines collector, because then you don't need a demagnetization coil. If you are running any other item collector, you're going to need a demagnetization coil on top of this barrel so you don't pick anything up. Again, That's if you're running magnets. If you're not running magnets, you don't have to worry about picking nothing up. And he's going to place that right on top of there. Now, in this one again, we have more stack upgrades, and we also want an advanced void upgrade and a bee stinger. And that's simply because we want to void any bee stingers, because you will get a lot of bee stingers. You might as well just try and void them as soon as they hit the barrel. Yeah, and the next one, another inventory cable. You're going to place your dispenser. You want to dispense it this way, to the right. Just like that. Redstone clock. And on top of the clock, you're going to want to give yourself a little bit of sanity and place a lever and turn that off. All right, and the final area is the bottler. Nope, you went the wrong direction. I need you to face like that. Place a lever down. Copy the cat panels. And glass. Right, so after all said and done, this is what you're looking like. We'll go ahead and turn that one on just to have a little bit of uniformity here. So, this is the first layer. You're going to have one more layer poking out, and that's what it's going to be in front of these inventory cables right here. So we'll go with the bottom one. We'll grab these. On this one is the baby incubator. I'm sorry, the breeding chamber. Then the baby incubator. Above the breeding chamber, you're going to place down just a barrel. Or a chest. I like the chest. And then right next to the chest, another baby incubator. And the final piece of this puzzle is you're going to need pipes going there. And pipes going there. And then, of course, you want to go ahead and set them. This one's a pull from the gene indexer, and you're going to pull from your ME interface. And, of course, on each side, or each pipe, you're going to need your pipe upgrades. This is going to allow you to filter everything that's moving around because it has MBT data, and Super Factory Manager kind of doesn't work well with MBT data. Right, so what's the point? Like, you showed me how to do this, but you're not showing me how it works. Well, calm down, buddy. I'm getting there. I'm going to get there. Trust me, it's worth the wait. All right, quite simply, Super Factory Manager is going to be handling the moving and shuffling of things, except for those things with said MBT data. You're going to need that. And this is how it's going to work. Inside this breeding chamber, this is where you would normally put your maxed out water bees, right? And that's exactly where they're going to be. Remember, they're maxed out. They've already got the stats exactly the way you need them. What happens is they breed here. The babies go in here, they grow up. The babies grow up, they go in the dispenser. The dispenser then, because of the redstone clock, spits them out, and this is already pushed down. As long as there's bottles inside the bottler, it will squish the bee. The item collector will then pick up said materials out of here, place it in here. So everything gets pushed into that barrel. That barrel then gets pushed down into this centrifuge, which this doesn't matter. I just prefer powered because, honestly, you're not going to need it any faster than that. Once the squish bee material goes into the powered centrifuge and gets done, then it's moved into the gene indexer, which then the gene indexer will pull out all the perfect genes and place it, or all the, the perfect purity genes, and then place it in the ME system. Yeah, I'm sorry, words are hard today. Now, I know you're asking yourself, why did I put another baby incubator, and why do I have another oak chest here? That is to tie into the system, but is not part of the passive generation of things. This is to max out your bees and your bee eggs, or your spawn eggs. All right, first things first, on the gene indexer, for the MBT data on this one, you're going to want a filter. This is going to be productive bees gene, and your MBT data is really simple. It's just productive beans gene group purity 100. So now any pure genes that come into, or that the gene indexer makes, it will automatically spit into this chest, or this barrel, I'm sorry, and then the factory manager will remove it from said chest or barrel and place it into the ME system, which we need to set that up right now. All right, before we set this up, I gotta put this in. This is the simplest way. Once you make your special honey treat with your very high productivity, your meta-ernal behavior, and your any tolerance for weather, And of course, your endurance and temper will be normal, unless you have perfect stats bees. Once you make this honey treat, it's as simple as placing it in here and hitting submit. You will never have to worry about it because it is going to carry all that MBT data. And as soon as I hook it up, it's going to go in here. And just to prove it, we're going to go ahead and put one in here. Actually, we're not. I'm going to leave it empty. All right, the last thing we need to do is take care of the ME interface. The ME interface is simple. Take anything that has power, right-click, and if you can change it to more, do more. You can place in bee cages, rose bushes, honey treats, your special honey treat. Actually, before we do the special honey treat, let's get lots of those in. Your special honey treat and your glass bottles. Now, remember, the key to this working is the induction card and the crafting card. It will send power, it will craft automatically and send said crafts into the system, and then you get the results back into your AE system. It's fantastic. All right, and if you have your wireless hooked up, it will populate and craft and get you all your power. It's wonderful how simple it is. Now, honestly, the last thing we need for this entire thing to work is this factory manager program disk and a label gun. Don't forget the label gun. You're gonna need the label gun. Quite simply, all you're gonna do is right click into your factory manager, you're gonna place your disk in and hit edit. And of course, you see nothing is on screen. I am absolutely a terrible, terrible typer. I'm not gonna have you sit through it, but here is the code. I'll try and explain it as best as possible, but I did leave everything in here as possible. I do need to change some things, but first let's go over things. So they have the name, the Bee Breeder 9000. This is my absolute baby. I love it. I cherish it. I really hope you guys enjoy it as well. So we have an energy loop that's going to be sending everything to the ME, from the ME interface to the breeding chambers, to the baby incubator, to the centrifuge, and the incubator 100. I'll explain that. We have your breeding chamber. This is where I need to make my changes for this particular one. So the original code has sunflowers in it. I actually need to change this to rose bush. And we want to stack going to the breeding chamber in slots 3 and 4. That's the only thing that needs to be changed on this. Everything else, it's going to be moving bee cages from the breeding chamber to the baby incubator, from the baby incubator. We have honey treats going from the ME interface to the baby incubator. If the bottler has one glass bottle, just one, then it's allowed to put the bee cage from the baby incubator into the dispenser in any slot. And then we need to make sure that the system actually holds glass bottles in the bottler. For your genes, we're going to be taking your gene bottle from the barrel to the centrifuge, and then from that centrifuge, we're going to output to the gene indexer. To get the 100% genes, it's going to go from barrel 100 to the ME interface once the gene indexer kicks out the purity genes. And then remember I told you about the 100% B. I'll get to that, but this is going to handle that. This is going to handle taking your bee cages out, putting it into the incubators. Yeah, all that fun stuff. And then the last thing you need to worry about, these are the MBT, the item tags and the MBT data for your pipe filters. For the max honey treat, once you build the max honey treat, just do as I did before, and then just add your special honey treat to this filter itself. All right, if we look back inside the factory manager, it shows we have click to copy warnings. If we look at it, we have all these labels, but none of them are placed in. That's why you need the label gun. In order for this to work, you're going to shift right click to pull all your labels, and then we're going to scroll through. You're going to right click, so this is the ME interface, we'll right-click there. Your max chest is here. Your incubator 100 is here. Which, by the way, that has already sent 64 into the system and built another 64. That's without Super Factory Manager because that's just how the pipes work. You have your gene indexer, your dispenser, your centrifuge. You have your breeding chamber, your bottler, barrel 100. It's the far left side. I have gotten these mixed up. You want barrel on the inside, barrel 100 on the outside. And then the last thing you need is the baby incubator. Come back over here and just right-click to push your labels back in. And if I take a look, you've got power, you've got flowers, you've got bee cages that are being produced as we speak, and eventually we're going to get ourselves another water bee. All right, I'm a little impatient, so now you can see we have 2 water bees over here. We'll speed that up a little bit. A lot of bit. There we go. And our first bred maxed out bee is in here. Now you're wondering, well, it's in the dispenser. Why didn't it do anything? Well, that's simply because I have the clock turned off. You want this clock turned off at certain times. If you're not passively generating your genes, these genes here, and you want a special bee, whether it's an ancient bee, an amethyst bee, arcane bees, whatever bees need to be bred, you can come in here and remove these water bees, breed what you need, you just turn off the clock. The reason you need the clock is because if you put the speedier upgrades in here, right, so now if you come in here and you get speedier upgrades, it's going to move insanely fast. I'm just going to do those 2 for right now. You know what? We can max it out. Why not? But you see how this is going up crazy fast? Be no more. As you can see, we are getting the squash bee material and no bee stingers. It's also crazy. This is the best collector in-game. Get this one. Now, if we come over here, check this thing out. It's just chugging along, getting all the genes we need. You can see them going in here, and they're slowly getting pulled out. The speedier upgrades is what makes this thing absolutely insane. And you're going to want to turn it off eventually. Now, you can turn it off like I just did, and eventually you're going to have lots of bees in here, and this will back up, and this will back up. So, okay, great. Now you have your maxed out water bees, and they're producing genes for your system, and you don't have to worry about it because your system can automatically make those maxed out honey treats as well. But what good does that do you with this max chest over here? Really? It's quite simple. You're going to grab any kind of bees that you want. So let me see what I have in the system. Perfect. Here's an ancient bee. Those are the stats. It has high productivity, weather tolerance is none, behavior diurnal, endurance is medium, temper is normal, right? What if I stick it in here? Now I come over here, I have an ancient bee with maxed out stats. So guys, tell me, what do you think of this crazy contraption here? Is this something that you would consider putting into your world? This is the footprint that I'm taking up currently. It's a small little footprint here. Challenge. Can you make it simpler, smaller, more compact? Dare I say, faster? Because to be honest with you, I don't think we can get any faster than that. But guys, that's going to do it for me. This has been the Bee Breeder 9000, and I'm so glad that I finally got to show you guys a full, proper breakdown, and not just inside my series. You now have an episode that you can come back and reference, and like I said, take on the challenge. Can you get it into a smaller footprint? Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and as always, remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. Take it easy, and God bless.